is Colin, and today I'm doing another movie review. This time I will be reviewing Martin Scorsese's new film, The Irishman. Now, you guys know I'm a big fanboy on stuff like Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and Marvel, DC. I do most of my videos on that, but one of the things that got me into cinema when I was about 12 or 13 was mob movies. I freaking love the mafia genre. The Sopranos is one of my top three favorite shows of all time. I'm pretty sure I've talked about my love for The Sopranos. That Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad are like the three perfect shows to me. I just love those shows to death. Those are my three favorite shows of all time. And The Sopranos got me to watch some other stuff in mob media. The Godfather and Godfather Part 2, two of the greatest movies ever made. Personally, I might like Godfather 2 even more than Godfather 1. Godfather 3 sucked ass, but Goodfellas, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time. About Henry Hill, came out in 1990. So its 30th anniversary will be next year. Maybe I'll do a review for Goodfellas because it's just such a masterpiece and it's to me the perfect movie. It's my favorite movie of all time. I just love everything that movie does. And I also love a lot of Scorsese's other movies like The Departed, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Wolf of Wall Street was one I really loved. Came out about 2014, 13. And Martin Scorsese, he's a damn great director. He's easily in my top 5 directors of all time, right up there with Tarantino and Spielberg, but he hasn't really done too many mob movies in a while. And really, he only made mob movies from 70s, 80s, 90s. And then after The Departed, he kind of went outside his genre. Wolf of Wall Street, Silence, both really great movies, especially Wolf, but it's nice to see Scorsese return to what he's great at doing, mob movies. And freaking Robert De Niro in this movie, because I wasn't able to see an early screening of it. It is technically a Netflix movie since they produced it and were able to see it like 2 weeks after it was only in theaters. Like I couldn't get to a screening of it. And it is fantastic. And the reason it's on Netflix is because this movie is like 3 hours and a half. I think it's like 3 hours and 20 minutes. Like, Jesus, a long movie. Like, uh, that's longer than the first Godfather. My God. It's just. But I fucking love this movie. This is one of the best films of the year. I'm just going to come out and say this. Robert De Niro should be nominated for Best Actor. I don't think he should win because there are other people like Joaquin Phoenix, DiCaprio that I think should probably win over him, but this is his best performance in years. I mean, the fact that De Niro hasn't really, he's done a lot of lower type movies like, you know, I saw him in Joker. He was great in Joker, but that was a more minor role. Like to see Robert De Niro, like he's an old man, do a big role like this, it's fantastic. And you have Joe freaking Pesci. Again, Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time. One of my favorite performances, easily my favorite Joe Pesci performance, is his performance as Tommy in Goodfellas. Just, he's such a great actor. And you also have freaking Al Pacino. Now, I've talked about how I'm kissing this movie's ass a lot, but let me explain to you what the movie's about. This movie's about Frank Sheeran and Jimmy Hoffa in the time of the Union. It takes place in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and it really just shows the period where you had the Union and how the Irish Mafia was working around it. It really just... And you also have a little bit, just a small portion of some Robert De Niro's time in the war as Frank Sheeran. And Al Pacino, my one problem is the movie's biggest person in it is easily Jimmy Hoffa. He doesn't appear until, I think, about an hour into the movie. And he's fantastic. I honestly think Al Pacino and Joe Pesci should be nominated for Best Supporting Actor because they are fantastic in this movie. Martin Scorsese has that brilliant direction. The music is fantastic. The cinematography, I mean, gorgeous, man. Just beautiful, great editing. And this is probably the most Goodfellas type movie I've seen since Goodfellas. It just reminded me of Goodfellas. It's about the mafia. You got De Niro, you got Pesci, you got great music, Scorsese's great direction, great writing, and really just everything this movie did worked for me. And yeah, it's a long movie. It's 3 hours and 20 minutes, and I could see, like, I watched this I didn't really have anything else to do, so I just sat down and watched it at the perfect time. This isn't really a movie that you can watch, like, in different halves. Some people might think it's like a mini series, and you could watch it like however you want, but I would suggest just sitting down, watching it the whole way through, because really, it would slow the pacing down just to stop and keep going, because that's really the only complaint about the movie is It doesn't necessarily drag because I think it's very well paced, and I don't think anything's rushed. I think everything just had the right structure to it, but it might feel a little too long to rewatch. Like, to rewatch this, I'd have to have considerable amount of time on my hands, 3 hours and a half, 20 minutes, whatever. But again, Martin Scorsese, one of the greatest directors ever made, makes one of probably the best mob movie I've seen since The Departed, one of the best mob movies I've ever seen. Probably top 10 best Martin Scorsese movies, maybe not top 5, but definitely top 10. One of Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino's best performances. These are some of the best performances of the year. They, in my opinion, should all be nominated for Oscars. I think Scorsese can honestly get a Best Director Oscar nomination. I mean, it's just Martin Scorsese. He's in his late 70s now. The dude's still making really great movies. I mean, the dude's a legend, and he doesn't disappoint here. The Irishman was nothing short of one of the best films of 2019, and on a scale of 0 to 4 stars, I'm going to give The Irishman a well-deserved 4 out of 4 stars. Great job, Mr. Scorsese. You have made another masterpiece. So that's it, guys. I highly recommend you check out The Irishman. If you don't have Netflix, get Netflix. But I'm assuming most of you do have Netflix, so get the right amount, get some time together, figure out when you can watch it. Honestly, just cut off some of your sleep if you can. 3.5 hours. Just watch The Irishman. It's a great movie. If you're into mob movies, and it might be a little slow at times for you, but because it is a slow burn, but overall, I think The Irishman is a masterpiece, guys. Just go out and watch it. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and as always, subscribe for future movie reviews and movie-related content. This one's definitely going to be on my best of the year, and I can't wait to do a best of the year list in either late December or early January. Thank you guys for watching, and I will hasta la vista.